Everybody, Mary Mitchell here. I found an artist called his name is Stuart Davies. He has taught me, and I'm sure other artists, that you can start with just a blank canvas and use your imagination and see where the brush takes you. Basically, let the brush do the talking. It sounds the way it sounds to whoever interprets it, but I understand it, and many artists do, and that's what I did with this. He paints on wood, I believe, and gessos it so that it accepts the oil paints, and then he just goes into this zone, and he's amazing to watch. If you haven't found him, I urge you to look him up. He will help you if you're tend to be tight, if you're a beginner. It will help you. It's just an exercise, and there's lots of exercises from lots of artists out there, and this is just one of many. And so let's go. So, when you're learning oil paints, there's a lot of information out there, and I needed to keep it simple. So I found this artist, Stuart Davies, and I liked the simplicity of what he was doing, and his paintings are beautiful. But what I liked about him is that he keeps it very, very simple, and he keeps the cost down very well, which does not hurt. So as I'm watching him, I'm thinking, wow, that is so liberating. I'm going to try it because I need to loosen up. I tend to get very tight. I tend to think that I must have a plan. I must draw it out. Everything has to be perfect. I take out my proportional divider, and that I will continue to do. But in the meantime, I needed to just let myself loose and let myself go. As I'm watching him, he speaks, he talks while he's painting, and he explains what he's doing. He is very soothing to listen to. So I watched a few of his paintings, as I believe I said, and as I said, I wanted to feel what it was like to be relaxed, be loose, and just experience making something from my mind. Because typically I have a reference photo and I have my proportional divider, and I set myself up, I transfer the image on to the canvas, sometimes more loosely than other times, but usually that's the way I work it. And in this case, I didn't. It was a really good exercise for me to do. And if you have trouble with just letting yourself go and you need to loosen up, I think this is the way to begin. It may not be for everyone, but it's not going to hurt you to try. Maybe you want a smaller canvas. I find that larger canvases allow me the freedom of movement, and the big moves, feeling the paint on the brush and sweeping it across the canvas. For me, it's very cathartic. That's why I prefer the larger canvases. Now, as I'm looking at this and I'm looking at the color, I'm thinking, well, it sort of looks like a stormy sky. Let's see where this goes. And so I just keep going. I'm not crazy about the colors at the top, but there's options. And one thing about oil paints that I love, one of the many things about oil paints that I love, is that you can wipe it off. You can wipe off parts that you don't like. Mistakes are easily fixed. Changes are easily made. I didn't realize that when I was working with acrylics. I was very intimidated by the thought of using oil paints. I don't feel that way anymore, and that in itself is just a major step in the right direction, is that I feel comfortable using them. relaxed, more relaxed, in fact, because they don't dry as fast. I don't feel pressure to make sure that everything is right. Yes, you can fix things easily with gesso. You can, but it's a bit of a hassle, unlike oil paints. So I am enjoying it a lot more. Also, really important is the difference in the way the paint, the painting looks. The paint on the canvas is deeper, it's richer, it absorbs the light and uses it to enhance it. And now, as I look at some of my older my older acrylic paintings, it's almost like light bounces off it. Whereas with these, the oil paintings, I feel that it's taking in the light and using the light to give it depth. People used to tell me that, and I guess I had to see it to believe it. So here we're coming to the end of this, and what you'll see is, well, first of all, here's what it looks like. And although I didn't have a plan in mind, I didn't like these colors, but the paint was wet, and so what I did is I took a rag and I wiped it all down, in segments, so I didn't blend the sky with the field, the ground. And I began again the next day, and I was really excited because this made a nice underpainting. I liked that there was already some paint on the canvas, because that also will give it depth. You should, I find that working with an underpainting first is the way to go. So anyway, now I do have something in mind. Okay, now I'm not just laying paint down on a canvas. I also have something that's formulated in my mind. So the exercise, as I called it, or study in this technique, worked for me. And as I go along here, I know what colors I need to use. I know what I want, and I start to work towards that. And I'm using blue, of course, more blue now. And I'm going to use that purple to my advantage between the yellow and the blue sky. So you'll see as I'm going along here, it starts out light. I do a lot of blending here. I don't typically find acrylics easy to blend while I was working with them. These I find blending to be a lot of fun, actually. It's a lot of fun. You can get a little crazy with it, or I did anyway. And again, it's a technique. There's so many techniques out there with any kind of paint you decide to use. But in this case, I found the blending to be really a lot of fun. Wet on wet is challenging. I'm glad that I let this dry, because wet on wet, you do have the issue of the colors mixing, and it can get muddy and it can look, mucky and not so nice. So this was perfect, that I had a nice dry base, yet a nice pleasant underpainting to go with it, because the purple will show through down below, and even in certain parts, in the sky, in the lighter part of the sky at any rate. So as I work along here, I want that sunset to be bigger into the sky. So I brought it up. Now, the thing I found with oil paints, and I want to share this with you, is that I find that I use a lot of brushes, first of all. I don't know if that's, quote, normal. It doesn't matter if it's normal. It's normal for me. And whatever you do will be normal for you. And, you'll find that techniques will change as you move along. I'm sure it'll be the same with me. I find that if I do tend to bring a color inadvertently or down into another color that I don't want to be there, I can take a clean brush and push it back up. You can push this paint around, and you can get very strategic with that. You start to understand the characteristics of the oil paint, and you can manipulate it easier than you think. And the only way to really explain it is for you to try it. So, for example, one of the things I found during doing this was that some of the purple mixed in with the yellow for the sunset, and I did want that to be the case, but it went down further than I wanted it to. So I was able to take a clean brush and push that back up and revive that yellow without the purple in it. So what I'm doing here is I'm taking darker, I actually have Prussian blue, I have some magenta, and I have some ultramarine. I'll list my colors down below when I'm done with this. And I want to make it so that, at the sunset, you can sort of see some pink streaks in the sky. So you see me working the paint to achieve that effect. And the natural bristles, the heavier brushes, makes that effort much easier. I did try it with an acrylic brush, and I had some trouble moving the paint around because it is thicker, even when you're using the medium with it, which I'm using linseed in this case, and it still can be challenging. So but I get there. I know I just keep going down with my brush, and in order to create those lines, I'm taking the edge of my brush and I'm just pulling it down, literally pulling the paint down. In some cases, I'm pulling it up. I'm making a real effort to get this paint around the canvas the way I want it. And when I say effort, I don't mean, oh, I'm struggling. That's not what I mean. It's just that I know exactly what I want, and I'm working hard to achieve it. Because, as I said, now that I've gotten past the first part, I know exactly now where I want to take this painting. So I'm being very deliberate with my strokes. And it's not just randomly sweeping my brush across the canvas as in the beginning, which is what I was doing. And it did help me arrive at a place where I knew exactly where I wanted to go. I don't spend a lot of time on the, let's just call it the grass, the field. I don't spend a lot of time on that because there's a plan I have for that, and it's just going to be covered anyway, a certain way. And so spending too much time on that right now is not what I want to do. I want to get the top, the 2/3 top of the painting, 2/3, exactly the way I want it, so I don't have to go back and revisit it. And then my focus will be on the landscape below. Now that I've decided what I want to do with the field, I am really excited to show that to you. We're going to do some really exciting work here. So please do join me for that. I look forward to that. And thank you for tuning in. And talk to you soon, everyone. Have a really great day. Bye-bye.